What it is, what it do, cyber world, it is your girl, the one and only Ash Said It, ashsaidit.com, ashsaidit.com. Welcome back to the Ash Said It Daily Podcast Show. We appreciate all the love, all the support. Yes, we're on the heels of 500,000 streams worldwide and growing daily. I thank you guys for that. It would not be possible without your support, your unconditional love. I appreciate it so very much. So today I have with me legend, all right? This is a wrestling legend here, actor, speaker, health advocate, the wonderful, talented Diamond Dallas Page. Diamond, how are you today?
One word, unstoppable.
All right.
that's my word for 2018.
All right, I'm loving it. So, Diamond, where are you right now? Where are you holding?
I'm actually in Smyrna, Georgia, a little suburb in Atlanta, and I built my DDP Yoga Performance Center right here, and it's like less than a mile from my house, and I've lived all over the country, but I came here to Atlanta in 1990 as when I started my wrestling career. Well, actually, when it started to take off a little bit, and then after I retired, I went out to LA for 10 years. And then 5 years ago, I really wanted to take this business to a whole different level, and I moved back to Atlanta where my daughters are and some of my business partners, and it's like taken off like unbelievably.
Yeah, so let's go from the beginning a little bit, all right? What were your childhood aspirations? Did you want to be this big wrestling superstar?
Well, when I was a kid, I really wanted to do that, like in my 8, 9, 10, and then, like anything, you find sports, and at that point, football and hockey were my games, and I started to drift away to that, and then at 12, I got hit by a car in football. Like, growing up, to me, like, I wouldn't say I was a football prodigy, but I was pretty good, and as a young kid, and very aggressive, and I loved the game, but when I got hit by that car, I walked out in front of it, and it hit my right knee, and my face bounced off the hood, and I flew 42 feet from the point of impact.
Wow.
And I had my doctors telling me you can't play football or hockey anymore. And I literally, I grew up with ADD and dyslexia at a time when no one knew what the hell ADD or dyslexia was. So I couldn't read. I could just barely get through school. I still passed. I cheated my way through it. But, so when you take away my sports, that was devastating to me. So I was a big New York Jets fan and Giants and Dallas Cowboys. And I'd seen where Joe Namath was worked on by this guy, Dr. Nicholas, and also Willis Reed, who played for the New York Knicks, both had knee surgeries. And Joe Namath was known for his knee surgeries. And I convinced my mom to take me to New York and to meet this doctor because he could help me. And when I got there to see him, he basically said to me, "You are never going to be Willis Reed. You're never going to be Joe Namath. So hit the books and get an education." And I was devastated again. I couldn't read, so how's that going to happen? And they would let me play two sports, basketball and baseball, and both of them I sucked at. And I didn't even make the team, the basketball team, when I was in 7th grade. So that to me was like, I ain't doing that sport. But it's the only one I could really do that you could learn by yourself.
Yeah.
Like in baseball, you can't play by yourself. You need people to throw and catch and hit. And you need to put a field of people on there to actually start to get any better. And there was no batting cages or anything back then in 1968. So I played basketball, because you could shoot and dribble and pass, and you could do all sorts of hook shots and foul shots and inside moves and ball drills. You could do all that by yourself. And I said, I'm going to make that team this year. I'm going to make it. And that 8th grade year, I made it, but I sat on the bench, and I had never sat on the bench. So, that's where I learned about work ethic. Like that summer, I played every day, 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day. It didn't matter if it was raining or not. I was on that court. And at some point, I started to get better and better and better. And at some point, I started to I got my sports back. It was basketball, though, instead of football and hockey.
What was the catalyst for you to begin a career in the WWE?
Oh, well, I right around my teenage years, one of my buddies, Gary Rossi, got me watching wrestling again. And then I got pulled in, and I'm like, I'm going to do this. And at 22, I actually tried to do it. But the timing wasn't right for me, and I only had like 3 matches. I was horrible. I hadn't really, I was very, very green to the business, and I hurt my knee and going over the top rope to the ground, the same knee that get by the car. And at that point, I was in a nightclub business since I was 17, like either day crew cleaning up or bouncing or bartending or runner or, anything to do with the bar business because I loved it. And at 22, when I hurt my knee, an opportunity arose that gave me the position of being a night manager for this, one bar rock and roll band on the weekends and music during the week, and I got to run my first bar, and I had so much fun. I probably had too much fun, and it derailed my vision and my goal of being a wrestler. That was like 78, 79, 80, and then 81. Wrestling started to take off big time with, the surgence of Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania. And I was so mad that, because I knew, like 4 years, 5 years, I'd have been in a mix somewhere. Yeah. And I was so mad at myself for not following my goals and my dreams that I stopped watching wrestling. And then about a couple years later, I was flicking the channels, and I came across the guy who was named Jesse the Body Ventura, and he was such a over-the-top character. He grabbed my attention, and then the first wrestler to come through the curtain, who they were doing the color and the play-by-play for the match, was a guy who had a bag over his shoulder. He would be Jake the Snake Roberts, and I was so blown away by this guy. Like, he was real to me. Like, my wrestling guy, that fake mumbo jumbo, but this guy, like, what he's doing is real.
Yeah.
And it blew me away, and it pulled me back in, and that's when, I didn't think about being a wrestler again, or a manager, or a color commentator for still a couple of years. I guess I was about 29 at the time, and as it turns out, I'm running a huge club by this time down in Fort Myers, Florida, and Jake actually came in the club.
Wow.
And Fort Myers is like, on the west coast of Florida, and that's also where Tampa is. It's about 140 miles north of there. And then if you go across to Alligator Alley, there's Miami, another 150 miles. So Fort Myers was like right in the middle. So if you wrestled in Tampa and you're on your way to Miami, you're going to stop in this one-horse town, Fort Myers, Florida, and realize, wow, there's this hot nightclub there. And next thing you know, me and Jake are drinking buddies. And, I was a big fan, so I didn't charge him for anything. And next thing you know, next time they came through, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase came, and the Bushwhackers. And before you know it, guys were in and out of the club, whenever they were in town, because they knew I wasn't going to charge them anything for the drinks. They were treated like kings. And it just got me like thinking, man, Doc, I should have been a part of this. And one night, I'm collecting the drawers, the cash drawers, around the nightclub, and the DJ put up a video, and it was Cyndi Lauper's video, Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And at the end of it, Captain Lou Albano, who was a manager, was all through this video. And Captain Lou would also be an actor and be in a bunch of different movies, too. He was super over-the-top character. But I'm watching this video, and out loud, I say to myself, thinking out loud, I I go, man, rock and wrestling. I should have been a part of that. And I walk away with the cash drawers in my hand. And my head bartender, Smokey, he comes walking into my office. Everybody's bringing in their drawers. Everybody's doing their counts. So the register tapes match the money brought in. And we're all sitting around drinking. And Smokey comes in and he goes, Page J, what did you mean rock and wrestling? You should have been a part of that. I said, well, I tried it when I was a kid. I was like 22 at the time. He goes, seriously? He goes, what was your name? And I said, Handsome Dallas Page. And he went, oh, you can forget about using that gimmick anymore. And everybody laughed. And, for some reason, I just started writing, like a doodle I was sitting at my desk, and you get like that month calendar, and I had it up on the wall, but I also had it on my desk, and I just started writing, just doodling, Diamond, Dallas, and I looked up and I went, I'm too old to be a manager. What if I'm too old to be a wrestler at 31? I was like 31 and a half at the time. And I said, I'm too old to be a wrestler. What if I was a manager? What if I was Diamond Dallas Page? And, we were all getting buzzed after work and, woo, yeah, shot, drink. And then I said, Jimmy Hart's at the Hart Foundation. I can have the Diamond Exchange, more shots, more, hooting and hollering. Then I said, there's not a lot of girls in professional wrestling, and, there's not really any really beautiful ones except for Elizabeth. And I said, what if I just had some really hot divas and I called them the Diamond Dolls? And I was like, well, that'll be a stretch. Woo, shot, drink. And you gotta remember, everything I was saying, I was writing down. I mean, just doodling.
Yeah, just doodling stuff.
And at the end of the night, we were getting ready to leave. I go, Diamond Dallas Page, his wrestlers are from the Diamond Exchange, and he's got the Diamond Dolls. I go, man, that's a B-A-double-D bad. And I stopped. I went, did I steal that from somebody? I just made that up. That's awesome. And I just wrote it down. And because I had so many of the wrestlers into my club, occasionally if I did all my own radio commercials back then, and if I got to the hot legs contest, I might go, ooh yeah, give you hot legs tonight, Dirk Nixon, yeah, ooh yeah, I do Macho Man, I do Hulk Hogan, and I would just throw them in, and people would be like, do you really have Macho Man doing your commercials with you? I'm like, man, sounds good, doesn't it? I never say yes. I never say no, but they didn't know. So there was this local, it was called the Party News Network. They actually wanted to do a story on the guy from Norma Jean's. That was our club. It was called Norma Jean's Dance Club. And they wanted to do a story on the guy who has the voice. And they filmed me in my 62's pink Cadillac convertible. They actually filmed me in the radio studio, the sound stage there. I'm wearing a WrestleMania T-shirt. Just so happens, and I know that because I found the footage about 2 years ago of this spot. It's about a 5-minute spot. And at some point, they filmed me in my office at the same desk that I was sitting at. And at some point, they say, where does the voice come from? And I'm sitting at that desk, and I'm looking down. It's all written on this blotter. And there's a pair of white sunglasses there. And I don't know if I actually really do this, if I don't have the sunglasses sitting there. But I just instinctively grabbed those sunglasses and put them on and said, the voice comes from Diamond Dallas Page today. I was born to be a professional wrestling manager. It's Norma Jean's voice. It's big, it's bad, it's ready to go. And then I went back to talking regular, and somebody saw that video. I tell people all the time, first of all, just don't think it, ink it, write it down. much closer to reality.
Yeah.
And, and the other thing I tell people all the time is, you never know who's watching.
Yeah.
You never know who's listening to your show. You never know who's going to be listening to this.
Yeah.
Well, there was a guy named Smitty watching that on that cable station, which had the Party News Network on it, and he called me and he asked me to come on his radio show, and he says to me, I want you to come on and be Diamond Dallas Page. I go, dude, I don't really do it. It's just in my head. And he's like, who cares? It's radio. I go, I don't know. He goes, I'm going to have Captain Lou Albano on, of all people. I couldn't believe it. I go, you serious? You're going to have Captain Lou on? He's like, yes. And I was like, man, can I get to talk to him? He's like, of course. So I did it, and Captain Lou was such a gracious, sweet man. He was super cool. He asked me to come back the next month because it was a boxing show, but one day a month they were going to do wrestling. And then he asked me to come back for Sergeant Slaughter. And Sergeant Slaughter was so genuine and nice to me. He made it sound like me and him have been friends for 20 years. Just putting over the character. And afterwards, my buddy Smitty, the DJ, he said, you really should do something with us. I go, do something with what? He goes, this Diamond Dallas Page thing. I go, Smitty, it's just in my head. He goes, yeah, I get that. But as you know, bro, that's where it starts. And it starts as an idea, and you wanted to be in wrestling, so why don't you just make up a videotape? I got this friend of mine, by chance, name's Rob Russin. He just started with the AWA, which was in the Midwest, Chicago, Minneapolis, Wisconsin. That's where the main places they wrestled, that AWA area.
Right.
And he said he was a boxing promoter for years, but now he's promoting wrestling for the AWA as well. I got his address. Send him a videotape. Make one up. So I sat down and I thought about it, and I just started, I came up with characters: Big Bad John, Rock Hard Rick, the Iceman, Teddy Bear, he was a midget. I had the Diamond Dolls, and I did this whole bit. I did this whole bit with, like, it was real. Like, we were doing real interviews with a guy who was a Gene Oakland type guy. And I sent it to the AWA. And I never knew if anything would ever happen. You hope something would, but you really have no idea if anybody's ever going to see it. But 2 weeks later, Rob called me up. And he said, man, we saw your tape, and I showed it around the office, and, everybody, they kind of like your stick. And, but they got one question, no one's ever heard of you before. Where are you guys working at? And I was like, well, he goes, yeah, because we want to bring them in for a shot. We want to give you a tryout. Well, I go, oh my God, Rob, none of those guys can wrestle. I mean, they want to be, what? I'm like, well, they want to be wrestlers, but it's like a secret society. It's like we can't figure out how to get in. And I could manage till they were ready, and it was like, basically, don't call us, we'll call you. But, God has a way of lining up planets for you sometimes if you're really putting the work in. And this guy named Paul E. Dangerously, who goes by Paul Heyman today, who's one of the biggest stars in the WWE, as a mouthpiece who can really talk. And he was in the AWA. He left the AWA to go to the NWA, which eventually would become WCW, but it left a huge void for a young guy that could talk. And that week, they called me up. It was like 2 weeks later. Bring you and some of those beautiful women with you and some of those crazy clothes, and we're going to give you an audition live. And next thing you know, I was managing tag team champions of the world, and next thing you know, I was on ESPN at 12 o'clock on a Saturday night, and that was the beginning of it.
Absolutely. Wow. Wow. That was a lot. All right, Diamond. So we're going to take a brief break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about this this new shift, this movement that you have in the world of yoga that we are absolutely in love with. And we're going to talk about how that vision has come to light. So you guys hang tight for me for one moment here, and we will be back with Diamond Dallas Page. Did you know that some foods can cause weight gain, body aches, and extreme fatigue? These are just some of the symptoms of food intolerance. Well, what is food intolerance? Food intolerance can occur when the body cannot properly digest certain foods. This can result in acid reflux, migraines, and so many other painful issues. How do you find out what foods are causing this irritation? It's easy. Pinner Test. With 500,000 satisfied clients worldwide, Pinner Test is the #1 way of identifying foods that may be causing discomfort. This simple at-home kit is easy to use with results usually within 2 weeks via email. It's that simple, all right? What are you waiting for? Go visit pinnertest.com and use my special promo code AshSaidIt for your discount today. Welcome back to the Ash Said It Daily podcast show. I'm your girl, Ash Brown, and I'm talking to Diamond Dallas Page. You guys know the name. You know everything that comes with it and this powerhouse of a man that he is here on earth. So, Diamond, let's talk about wrestling versus yoga. How do you make that shift from wrestling to yoga? What happened?
Well, when I left you off in the AWA as a manager, I would eventually get the opportunity to go to WCW. And when I got there as a manager, because of the hair and the wrap and the clothes, they basically wouldn't let, after I did it for a couple months, they wouldn't let me do it anymore because I was basically too over the top for a professional wrestling manager. But I had 7 months left on my contract, and I thought, I'm not too over the top to be a wrestler. And it's something I never dreamed of wanting to be a manager. As a kid, I always wanted to be a wrestler. So at 35 and a half, I started the journey in the ring. And my career took off when I was 40, which was in 1996. Wow. That's when the Monday Night Wars were really heating up between the WWF and the WCW. And my career, God, I was wrestling 270 plus days a year at that point. At 41, at 42, which was 1997, and 1998, I was on top of the world. I headlined 13 out of 24 either main events or semi-main event pay-per-views with WCW. I just signed a multi-million-dollar 3-year deal. I finally got paid. It was like I was living a dream on such a high level, and then bang, I basically broke my back. What I did was I ruptured my L4 and L5 in my back, and that's a vertebrae that we have up our spine. Is an amazing thing that allows us to fall and bounce up and fall and get up. But it's those shock absorbers in between the spine that really allows that, and they're called discs. And I blew them out. So my L5 now puts that vertebrae bone on bone. And I had 3 of the top spine specialists in the world tell me I was never going to wrestle again. And, I would say, you can't thank God for all the amazing things that happen in your life. A lot of times you got to thank God for the really horrible things that happen. Because then it's all your mindset. How do you find inspiration in adversity? And in this scenario, it didn't happen right away, but eventually, I started to feel like, how am I going to turn this around? And so the guy who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga the first 42 years of his life will try anything. Yoga's going to be one of them. And I was blown away by how much it helped me. It started helping my flexibility. It started helping my core strength. Within the first 3 weeks, I started to feel a significant difference. But it wasn't giving me everything. So I had many surgeries, 2 shoulder surgeries, 2 knee surgeries, and I had rehabbed them both back. Now I'm going for the rehab for my back at the same time I'm doing the yoga, little moves that I'm doing. And bottom line is, one night before I go to bed, about 3 weeks in, I start to mix the yoga positions with the rehabilitation techniques. I'm like, wow, that works. And then I threw in old school calisthenics, push-ups, squats, crunches. And then I threw in something that I call dynamic resistance. It's really isometrics and isokinetics. And isokinetics means isometrics moving. That would be like the 101 explanation of it. And when you're flexing and engaging, when you're moving or standing still, this is a scientific fact. Every time you flex or engage a muscle, your heart has to beat faster to get the blood to the muscle. An example would be if you're laying on your back and your heart rate's going to be the lowest ever. Sit up, what's going to happen to your heart rate? It's going to go up. Stand up, it's going to go up.
Right.
Walk, jog, run, sprint, it's going to keep going up. So what I figured out, and again, this is all completely by accident, something I call dynamic resistance, that flexing and engaging of muscles helps jack your heart rate up. So what I developed completely by accident, which today, 19 years later, is known as DDPYoga or DDPY. What I developed is kick-ass cardio, dramatically increase your flexibility, strengthen your core at a whole nother level, all with minimal joint impact. In less than 3 months, with what would be known today as DDPY or DDPYoga, I'm back in the ring. At 42, those spine specialists told me my career's over. At 43, I'm the heavyweight champ of the world. So as you can imagine, I'm going to keep doing that.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the takeover is real. One monkey don't stop the show. And you've shown such resilience in your career and through the way that you're very innovative, and one thing doesn't work, hey, you figure out some other stuff. And that's the power in really knowing yourself and believing in your talents and knowing that, everything happens for a reason. You were not super excited about having that injury in your back, but look what the door has opened up for you to help so many other people. I mean, we were talking off air earlier and you were telling me about like how diverse your classes look and the different people that you see in your class. Like there's not like a set stereotype of the type of students that you have. And these are all people, all walks of life that need this rehabilitation. They need this overall wellness, and to understand that it's a lifestyle change and it's not just a class, it's not just a diet here or there, but this is the way that we have to mold ourselves so that we can be here long term. So,
and what's really really cool is I'm starting to work with a lot of legends from the NFL.
Yeah,
guys who the level besides wrestling. The only other guys that beat up their body as much as we do would be NFL football players, but they don't do it past 35. Once in a while, you'll find someone like Tom Brady, who's playing still at 40 at the level he did, and he doesn't look like he's going to stop anytime soon. But Tom does a lot of stuff like I do, and Tom also eats really, really healthy. And I don't know. I have an idea. I've seen some of his food plans. It's all around the same stuff I do. And I explain to people all the time, it's as important as the DDPY workouts are, as important as the eating plan is, it's still really 10% of the equation.
Yeah.
90% is between your ears. I always say life's 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. Yeah. Your mindset, your story. I've written a book called Own Your Life. It'll be out August of 2018. And it's all based on, really the story you tell yourself. Definitely. And teaching people that you've got to train your brain the same way you train your muscles. You got to train your brain in high school and college to get the grades that you're trying to get.
Mm-hmm.
I left you with that story in the beginning how I was reading at a third grade level at the age of 30. But at 31, I made a decision I was going to learn how to read proficiently. And I made it so that, I made it so that I could do, in the beginning, I was horrifying for me to read. But I set a goal for myself. And then once I set the goal, I was going to read a book from cover to cover, which sounds like, you got to read a book from cover to cover, not a big deal. Yeah, for most people. For me, it was overwhelming. And what I did was I broke it down, so it's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it's, I broke it down that I was going to read one page from that book every day. And then all of a sudden, that's overwhelming. But if you don't change your circumstance, like a lot of people are saying, especially this time of the year, I'm gonna go on a diet. What's the first three letters? What's the first three letters of the word diet? Diets don't work. Lifestyle changes do. Lifestyles work. And bottom line is, but if you start off and you say, I'm gonna change what I'm eating, and you might be good for a couple of days, maybe even a couple of weeks, but then life's gonna get in the way because you haven't changed your circumstance at all. And what I mean by that is, for me, if I say I'm gonna learn how to read, okay, that's a bold statement. All right, now how? Well, I'm gonna read a book from cover to cover. That's my goal. All right. You're going to break that down. I'm going to read one page a day. Okay, even at my illiterate self, I could, at that time, read a page a day. And now I just got to get with the goal. But what's going to keep me on that course? Well, early on, I said, just don't think it, like write it down. And I just don't mean in your pen, your book, or your journal, or your computer. I mean, write it down and put it everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I wrote "read today" and I put it on my bedpost, on my lampshade, on my little this old table, the drawers next to my bed. I put it on the mirror in my bathroom. I put it on the shower door. I put it on the refrigerator. And I was not going to take any of those post-its down until I finished it. Until I got it done. So that's how you change your circumstances. In a way, if you're doing a diet, or even better yet, you're having an eating plan that you're following, write it down. Write down what you're eating. Write what times you're eating. Write how much water you take in, what you're drinking. So when you get to the end of that week or month and you want to know, how come I didn't lose any weight? Well, you can go back and look at your journal and you'll know exactly why.
You're right about that.
People don't make themselves accountable.
Yeah.
And I started telling everybody, I'm going to read my first book from cover to cover. I started telling people, I'm not really, I really can't read that well. That's how it starts, but I'm working on it. And I started telling people in my inner circle, I had no idea I had ADD and dyslexia until my first wife, she had her master's from Northwestern at the age of 21.
Wow.
Very, very smart woman.
Yes.
And at one point, and I'm practicing reading out loud then. This is a couple years later. And she goes, what movie, what's that movie about? And I start reading the little, 2 lines that are on the thing. And she goes, stop screwing around, Paige, read it. I go, I'm trying. And she was like, oh my God, you're dyslexic. I'm like, what's that mean? And she told me. And then I ended up, that was when I was about 36 or 37. And then I would get tested at the Eris Learning Center in Los Angeles. Actually, it's in Culver City. And they, of course, I've got ADD and dyslexia. I was like, no kidding. And I've known it the whole time. I just didn't know what the hell it was called. But where it really took, that learning center I went to at 47, there was a woman named Rose there. She was 85. And she said that I went there. I went twice a week for about 6 months, and she was like, I've never seen anyone take home as much homework as you do. The guy who never did any homework got people to do it for him. Now is the guy who brings in the most homework, but it really helped me a lot, that whole learning center. And again, all these things that I talk about with, now I've developed, I wrote a book called Yoga for Regular Guys, and then I did a DVD series, and then I came a DVD, a whole, system to it with the booklet and the eating and, about, written stuff for how to motivate yourself and stuff. And then I took it to the last level that we're at right now. We still have DVDs of all different types and all different levels at DDPYoga.com. But today with the app, we have the DDP Yoga Now app, and anybody who wants to try it, if you go to your iPhone, your iTunes, you can get a 7-day trial on it and try it out, and you'll see, because it's not just the workouts. There's over 150 workouts, but there's also over 100 recipes that are all gluten-free, dairy-free, and there's also motivational Mondays. For my food stuff, it's all healthy food. Yeah. But it's great tasting, because if it doesn't taste great, I'm not eating it.
Exactly.
And I don't expect anybody to eat it as well.
Yeah.
So, I've got
right
so many people come in who are chefs and stuff. And, and then, of course, there's all the motivational Mondays that are every Monday. I got over 100 of them up there right now.
Wow.
And, every Monday I have a new thing I'm talking about. That if you surround yourself with, people who are really positive and people who want to make a difference, it's going to infect you.
Yeah.
My buddy Mark Barrow, he says that our friends are, it's like elevators. They bring you up or they can bring you down. Like, I don't let anybody, if I'm trying to help somebody who's negative, I'll let them into my zone for, a little while. But if they don't start to get it, start to change, then they don't get to hang with me.
Yeah.
But you're either going to put the work in or you're not.
That is right. I'm totally on top of that. Diamond, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate all your words of inspiration. I know that somebody out there needed to hear those words specifically from you. So I appreciate you so very much for joining us on the program.
When are you coming over to the DDP Yoga Performance?
I gotta come over soon. I was supposed to come this weekend, when you guys had the big event. I was supposed to be there, but I had been pulled in other directions. I'm coming. I'm putting it. I'm putting it on the. It's on the record. It's on the record because now this is recorded. So now I have to come. This is on the record.
Also, and let any of your people know, because you're here in the Atlanta area, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners are from all over, but there's a lot of people in this area.
Yes.
Every first workout at the DDP Yoga Performance Center is free.
Oh, well, that's a bit.
Yeah, so anybody who comes, it costs nothing to try it. You want to go onto the app and go to if you go to iTunes or Google Play, you get a 7-day trial on it.
Sounds like a plan.
There, or you can go to DDPYoga.com and get 20% off on everything. So whatever works for you, it's there. But don't listen to a word I have to say about anything about DDP Yoga.
Just come and see
it. Go to Twitter. Go to DDP Yoga Performance Center or go to Twitter @RealDDP @DDP Yoga. Read what people write.
Sounds like a plan.
Greatest thing you can have.
The testimonials
Thank
there.
You, Ash.
Loving it so much. Thank you so much, Diamond. And thank you guys for downloading the show, for supporting my movement, which is ashsaidit.com. Keep in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face and tell them, don't believe me, just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for. We're doing this for the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.